The dog keeps pulling the wool. Then bite off a small blob with your mouth. Hurl it into the air with great effort. Soon the wool was gone. What is it doing? Turns out dogs work every day. When the sheep's fur is full, drive them to the top of the mountain one by one. Then Grandpa cut the wool with scissors. And so a cloud is formed. Grandpa hooked the cloud with his crutch after a few turns and then throw it into the sky. Clouds of wool float. Soon it began to drizzle. With the moisture of the rain, the whole land becomes alive. Grandpa is worried about the dog getting wet. Then he put the hat on his head. One person and one dog by each other's side. This day the dogs came around the sheep as usual, waiting for Grandpa. But he never showed up. So the dog came to the grandfather's door and shouted. There was no response. After some hesitation, the dog jumped through the window. It's a pity. Grandpa has passed away from a serious illness. But the dog doesn't know what's going on. He just lay quietly in front of the bed. Half a year passed. A dead leaf woke the sleeping dog. He looked out of the door curiously. Discover the original green world. Now it's all over the place. The sheep gathered together, because they don't have anyone to trim their hair. The sheep were all hairballs, and the ground hasn't rained for so long. Become barren. Not an inch of grass grows. The dog had to learn from his grandfather. The wool is collected again and again. Then he took a bite and threw it into the sky. But the wool soon dissipated. Suddenly a fat sheep flew up. The dog pressed down on it. Then they put the sheep in the room, to keep them from flying away again. But there are too many sheep. It just went in here. That side just popped out. The ejected sheep rolled down the hill. Finally disappeared into the bush. The dog shouts anxiously. Suddenly the bushes began to shake violently. Then the sheep emerged cleanly. Then a big ball of wool slowly rises, floating in clouds. The dog suddenly had an idea. Then he drove the sheep down the hill. There were clumps of wool rising from the bushes. Then clouds filled the sky. Soon the rain was pouring down. Things are starting to come back. The earth is alive again. Although Grandpa did not wake up, but the dog still stuck to the top of the mountain to fulfill its mission in place of Grandpa.